to come to church by not encouraging them to come to church. We encourage people to come to church by not encouraging them to come to church. Rather than expecting people to come to us, we go to them. We travel into their environment, immersing ourselves in their milieu, cuddling up to the zeitgeist, perhaps learning a completely new language. And then once we appreciate and understand this environment, we then seek to create an experience of church completely and absolutely particular to that culture. A customized church. So clearly, I understand church as a concept much more than a physical building. And in this I'm informed by Article 19 of the Anglican Church's 39 articles. Are there any Anglicans in the room? So you'll know this off by heart, so I'll go quickly for you. Article 19, it's very short, you'll be happy to know. The church which reads, "The visible church of Christ is a congregation of faithful men," dated language, "in which the pure word of God is preached, and the sacraments be duly administered according to Christ's ordinance, in all those things that are of necessity are requisite to the same." When it talks of congregation, it's not referring to a building, but a gathering of people. The ecclesia who come together to proclaim the word of God and administer the sacraments. And can I say how pleased I am that my topic this morning isn't the sacraments in the digital space. But that is something that we probably should discuss at some point in some form over the course of these 3 days. And I was sharing just before at my table here of healings that were happening over the internet, where people were touching the monitor of a broadcast of a healing service and being healed by touching the monitor. That's very interesting stuff. The question of how God communicates through fibre optics or whatever the technology actually is through. These are things that I think we should address. Now, I'm not anti-building. Buildings may well manifest in some form in this new environment. It's not to discount it, but rather to liberate somewhat our understanding of church. So as well as being invitational in our attempts to encourage more people into church, I believe we need to be incarnational. As well as being invitational, we need to be incarnational. That of bringing an experience of the transcendent God, perhaps to a completely new environment. So we encourage Bible engagement through a more active church involvement with this incarnational model, as well as taking full advantage of whatever communication channels are available in a contemporary environment. And the environment, obviously, I want to talk about today and address is the digital space, the internet. In just a short period of time, the net has grown to 35 billion pages, with some 1.6 billion people using it. There are around 55 trillion links between all the web pages in the world. And every day, there are some 100 billion mouse clicks made. And every second, 2 million emails are sent. Every second, 2 million emails are sent. And every 2 seconds, in terms of data size, the equivalent of the Library of Congress, the world's largest library, moves around the internet. Every 2 seconds, in terms of data size, the Library of Congress is moving around the world. The internet is massive and growing at an extraordinary rate. It's predicted that this year, more information will be created on the web than in all previous years combined. And this phenomenal growth isn't simply limited to Western nations. with Africa as an example, experiencing more than 1,000% growth in net users in the past 8 years. And there is also a big push happening at the moment to make available internet access for all people, including those in the 2/3 world, with such projects as the Google-backed O3B network, the other 3 billion. And these are very serious projects with real intent. Now, right now, the global average of time adults spend online is 89 hours a month, or about 3 hours a day. Then you hold this against this, against this amazing statistic, our research, which displayed that a vast majority of people spend less than 30 minutes a day reading and reflecting on their Bible. Now, what if we were to move into this digital space and offer an experience of church, of the Bible, in the language and culture of the digital environment? Now, how might this look? Well, first, let me briefly map for you this digital space. I'll consider this in terms of a number of significant shifts the massive internet growth is causing. The first shift I want to explain briefly is from the importance of the collective to the power of the individual. The first shift, the massive digital revolution the internet is causing, is from a shift from the collective to the power of the individual. The rallying cry of the digital revolution: just for me, wherever I am, however I want it, whenever I want it, preferably for free. Now, I have a 2-year-old, and that sounds a lot like his life philosophy. My 2-year-old lives by that, and it's not I'm not having being down on my little boy. That's what 2-year-olds do. Just for me, wherever I am. I'm here now. I want biscuits. I want. So there is a question of maturity about this, isn't there? I don't think it's a very mature rallying cry, but that is the reality I believe we are facing. The second shift, which we're seeing a shift from local to global. With the internet, I can interact with people, projects and programs from around the globe, and I'm telling you what you know. And the language barrier is slowly dissolving, with various near instantaneous translation services available. A couple of years ago, as has already been explained, I founded the Anglican Cathedral of Second Life in an attempt to be church within the virtual environment for people, and this was our aim, wherever you are, whatever your circumstance. Now, within 6 months, the virtual cathedral had been built. We were holding services, and now each week, as was shared last night, there's 7 services, Bible study, and a range of activities that happen around the cathedral. And we have about 20 nations represented in that congregation or congregations. They're able to gather together wherever they are, whatever their circumstance. And with this shift from the local to the global,